I know when I was going to art school, I sort of felt like I was in this protective little bubble where I was surrounded by my peers and I was surrounded by instructors and professors who were there basically to help me, versus in the real world where it's a lot more solitary, I'd have to say.
In school, you end up working on projects that are kind of tailored for you. Your teachers pick out projects that provide a diverse portfolio, whereas in the real world, you end up kind of doing the work that people want and need you to do. The whole idea of it's a graphic designer, or you're a graphic designer, it's not about you, is entirely true. It's about what the client needs, it's about what the client wants, and it's about your job as a designer to make that client understand what good design is.
One thing I tell a lot of my interns is that design is not a 9-to-5 job. You know, the hardworking will survive, the lazy will fail is sort of my motto. In school, sort of they start laying the foundation for that.
Being a graphic designer in school is very different from the real world. In school, you're learning the basics, the foundation, the history of art and design. In a real working situation, you're applying those lessons. You're learning through doing.
I think that it's totally different in one major way: the amount of time that you have to produce projects. In school, you have, say, 3 weeks to produce a project. In the real world, you could have 3 hours to produce that project.
The number one difference is that there's a difference in the deadlines. Every student thinks that their deadlines are ridiculous, but in fact, they're given a lot more time to finish projects than they will be in the real world.
I would say in the real world you have far less time, however sometimes more resources in order to finish your projects. Also, you'll be collaborating with a lot of different people, so it's not all on you. You'll be working with copywriters, production managers, the clients sometimes, and also account managers.
In the real world, you don't get to call all the shots and do everything that you want to do. You kind of lose the client out of the equation when you're in school. You do critiques, which are great. It's great to learn to explain your work and you know, talk intelligently about the work that you did. That's all great stuff. But the X factor is always the client or the stakeholder.
In school, it's a very linear process, but you're really only answering to one person, that's the instructor. Whereas in the real world, there's so many variables. After you finish designing a piece, it might have to go to your creative director, who then may take it to the client. Internally on their end, they might have to run it up the flagpole. So there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and a lot of different things can happen, and a lot of things can change with your design. What I do think is the same is that you might be juggling multiple projects, and you do that in school if you have a full load of classes, and of course in the real world you're never going to sit there and work on one project for 3 weeks.